Medical fat phobia is honestly so pervasive. Like, I just went in, I'm getting a COVID test, and they had to do a blood pressure test. They didn't have a blood pressure cuff that fit my arm. So in turn, first of all, it was painful.
Do you think you need to do a better job at messaging and going forward? How do you sell this if ultimately you have to?
Well, I think you all could do a better job of selling it, to be very frank with you.
If you want to debate or argue or fight or with me on politics, I'll take it all day long.
I know there was a little hubbub over the course of the last few days about Southwest Airlines. We now know that some of those claims were absolutely false, and actually the issues were completely unrelated to vaccine mandates.
Right. Do we know that? I don't know if we know that.
I don't know. Sorry, I was a little distracted because I was seeing what's the name of this musical artist? Lizzo? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
She was at
She's rotund.
She was at Cardi B's birthday party. She wore a really, really nice outfit that you should
good.
take a peek at. I just sent it to you in the Twitter.
Good.
But yeah,
Let me take a look
think
here.
Megan Fox. Think Megan Fox or
like
Kim
Megan Fox.
Kardashian style, much like that. I think you'll like it. It really because I know that you're taking a stand against fat phobia. I assume you'll see no problem here with this.
So I'm looking at it now. It's completely transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And okay.
She's a larger
Alice.
young lady. But
Alice.
That's what I'm saying. You're taking a stand against fat phobia. So, I mean, like, if we like that, if we like Megan Fox naked on the red carpet,
I don't see
then
the difference
there's
whatsoever.
no difference, right?
All right, Alice. So let's talk about today's
Okay.
the newest tragedy today. We're going to get to the infrastructure bill. We're going to get to, even though it hurts me to do it, we're going to get to John Gruden and some other stuff as well, and just kind of talk about a little bit of John Gruden and the difference between today and other times in the world. Sorry, stay there. Oh, hold on. You good?
I'm good.
How are you?
Good? Check.
Check 1, 2. Yes, Alice. At some point, we're gonna have to make some decisions when it comes to this equipment.
You keep saying that.
Check
we
1,
keep
2.
putting out podcasts, so.
So today is no, it's not rock bottom. Today's not rock bottom. But so today, after my Jesus. Hello. Hello. That can't be happening. That can't be. It's too early.
Can you go talk to your siblings, please? Go talk to Sally and James. They'll help you. Thank you.
Okay. Did I swear? I don't even remember. Okay. So
I don't know, honey.
So, as you know, yesterday I meant to get my toe fixed. Instead, there was no toe fixed. Nothing happened. And as a matter of fact, the doctor...
You experienced medicalized fat phobia.
Yeah, I experienced medicalized fat phobia. The thing did hurt, actually, the first time. They took my blood pressure and then called an emergency and told me I was stroking out right there, essentially. Mm-hmm. So now we're trying to get me some pills to push my stroke off a little bit. And so desperately trying to get pills, but you're not allowed to get lisinopril. It's the most banned substance on the face of the earth. So we're trying to get a doctor's appointment to get lisinopril, which is just fat guy stuff for blood pressure. You can't get it. Can't be fucking done for some reason. That's fine. The healthcare system is working just fine. I have been a working human being since I was a teenager, paying health insurance my entire effing life. Really didn't need it until I became ridiculously fat in my 30s. Have done everything I'm supposed to do. Just give the fat guy his stuff. It can't happen. I just went on Amazon to try to do it. It can't happen.
Yeah, and I think that
I just don't see the problem. Why? It's fine. That's fine. Okay, forget it. I'm not allowed to have it. It's fine. So now I'm going to try to get it legally. So you should be the first to hear. Guys, I'm going to try to get some illegally. This is where it is now, where I got to meet a guy in a parking lot with a baggie.
If you know any lisinopril dealers, text Tom.
Ridiculous. Because the bureaucracy makes it so I'm not allowed to just have this. God forbid I just can have this lisinopril because I might get absolutely not high off of it because it doesn't do anything.
Well, I think what's interesting, too, is that, so I tried to get you your appointment, and they said they could take you in the middle of your workday on this Thursday or next year. those were the two options they had for an appointment. Like finally, and they said if you went in next year that they wouldn't write the prescription because that was too far away. So
God forbid that they lose track of some lisinopril. Jesus.
But yeah, so this is what's weird to me is like, we were talking about the Southwest Airlines thing yesterday, right? But like, the thing is, like, a lot of parts of the economy are broken now and screwed up, including the huge staffing problems in the medical industry. I mean, you know this because you were working in the news before, and the hospitals were laying people off during COVID because they were losing money because they were canceling all the procedures that they make money from.
Right.
So they were getting rid of people. They've had tons of layoffs. They haven't been able to get people back. Now they're firing people for vaccine mandates and everything else. I mean, it's problematic. And then on top of that, there's now a spike in demand because a bunch of people that put a bunch of stuff off have all like come back into the medical system now and are trying to get care.
Are we going to get back to my prescription?
We will. We will. But I just want to make this point quickly that like this sort of problem of the difficulty of like trying to get stuff out of the medical system that's like bad because it's overblown and screwed up at the best of times is now like drastically worsened. And you have to wonder how many people how many people don't have an Alice to sit on hold with different doctors' offices and giving people insurance information and calling them back and calling CVS and like it's a huge pain in the butt and you have to have a lot of time to deal with it. And like mostly, I think there are a ton of people out there who are dealing with other stuff who just won't get medical care, won't get screenings. The appointments are too far away. They're going to, essentially have fallen out of the medical system during the pandemic and aren't going to go back in until it's too late to deal with some of their problems, like cancers that aren't going to get discovered in time and other stuff that's going to happen. Like if you hadn't gone for your stupid toe yesterday, we would not have had the same and had your blood pressure read. I don't think we would have done that today. Like we wouldn't have had the same sense of urgency to deal with the appointment. Like how many people out there are wandering around with their blood pressure too high about to keel over or are wandering around with like a tumor growing somewhere that they could deal with now if they went and dealt with it, but they can't because getting an appointment is such a hassle and so far away. And like I said, this stuff is annoying to deal with at the best of times, but right now it's like a nightmare. It's impossible. Even to get a primary care doctor can take like months and months and months.
Right. So the fact that you can't just get the stuff is effing ridiculous. So that's fine. I don't want to bother you guys with that. You've got your own problems with your own stuff. Here's the beautiful thing now. So today, against doctor's orders, who tells me essentially I need to lay prone or else I'm going to stroke out, I go to right near the clinic, as a matter of fact, I go to Planet Fitness, which is where I go a couple or a few times a week, depending, to work out. I listen to podcasts, and I work out in my little arms and little other things, and
it brings you happiness.
It brings me great happiness. I get lost in my own zone. I found it to be very relaxing. It's not a lughead gym, even though I do want to murder about 3/4 of the people I come in to see there, just for not wiping or the way they wipe equipment reasons, or sometimes there's a couple of hardos who like will work out really hard on a piece of machinery and then feel the need to aggressively like walk across it through the gym to like feel it working into his bones a little bit, into his muscles, and then come back to the machine. And obviously I want to shoot those people dead. But
is it a higher percent than the general population, though, you think? Or
what?
Do you want to kill more people in the gym than in general? Because you want to kill a lot of people like just around in life.
I think probably
like in traffic.
Anybody with self-respect who has respects the limited amount of time you have on Earth would like to eliminate a lot of people. Certainly, I think that's not just not me. So here's a great thing. I find happiness in this gym. I've been going regularly. I'm not a gym person. I wasn't until maybe June when I got the membership. Right. So I go in, for some reason, the app doesn't work on my phone anymore. That stopped. There was a billing issue a couple of months ago or a month and a half ago. When do you think that was?
A few months ago, because it was when my card got used at
Was that a few months ago?
It was, I think, maybe March.
No, because I thought I got the thing in June. Did I not? Maybe I didn't.
I don't know. Yeah, you got it in June because you were a few months past due because it had been on my card and we had to get a new card or whatever.
Okay, so I don't want to blow this. I don't want to step on this.
Okay.
So anyway, that's fine. So fine. They gave me a couple months ago. I can't use my app anymore and use the hashtag thing there to sign in. They can now give me a manual little card. Fine, whatever. I don't get to play on an app like everybody else does. That's great. No problem. So I've been using for the last couple of months this little manual thing, little card ding, that you'd have in your keychain on a little card reader when I go in there. Today, I go in there. I have my headphones on. I'm listening to a podcast. I never even acknowledge, somebody. I can hear them faintly out of my mind saying, "Have a good workout," or whatever. Today, I hit the thing, clink, go in as I'm starting to get ready to begin ripping my huge, ripped cannon arms. Guy says, sir, so there's, and I'm like, whatever, I don't even take my headphones off. I'm like, okay, he's going to tell me there's something wrong with the billing. Maybe a credit card got over, whatever it is. So I start to hand him my, our bank card, prime bank card, whatever. The guy says, yeah, there's, the thing. So you're overdue. And I said, how much is it overdue? He said, well, the problem is that you're, he said, you have a balance, but no, it's not. And he's nervous now. And I'm like, oh God. Because a couple of months ago, it took two of them to try to figure out what was wrong with billing, whatever, when they took away my app privileges. So now I said, I'm sorry, sir, we can't just handle it because it's in collection now. So your membership has been revoked.
But did we ever even get a notification that the thing...
Well, no, so I have a notification from a few months ago that I've seen from ABC Gyms. Planet Fitness doesn't go by Planet Fitness to search. It goes by a different thing. But that's fine. But anyway, it doesn't matter because I believe that I resolved this thing. Anyway, they revoked my gym membership.
And you can't just pay them to get it back?
Nope. He said he felt bad. And I'm like, really? Because I spent a long time at this desk with a woman a month and a half ago, whatever, 2 months ago, and so everything should be fine. He said, I'm sorry. He said, yeah, what you could do is you could pay the gym membership and then reapply to be a member if you wanted to. Maybe that we could do that, or off. In other words, handle it with collections and then beg to. So I'm like, and he said, you can, if you want to, just get one more workout in. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll see you later. They freaking took my membership. I've never heard of this ever in my life.
You're canceled.
I have been going in there a few days a week, clicking the thing, ding, ding, ding.
And they've never once said, like, oh, your bill's overdue.
No, the only time they said that and said there's a problem with billing, I fixed it.
Right there.
So, right. And so that's assuming that's a checkpoint where they would do that kind of thing. Unless they find me too physically intimidating. But so now, suddenly, I've gone from member in good standing to banned.
You can't even be a member anymore.
No, I can't be a member anymore. It's incredible. I don't even understand. It's like, I've been there
persecuted.
Every time. Was everybody afraid to tell me that something's going on? And I got nothing. Of course, I'm not allowed to get the app anymore. They told me, sorry, but I'm just going to have to use this. So I wouldn't get any notification on my phone, which is where everything would be nice to see.
Right.
I got no special phone call, no special anything, just that I'm in trouble. That's it. And so now I'm without a gym. Now I'm looking for another gym.
Poor pedo.
That's not pedophilia. That's pedo meaning dog. It's a nickname Alice has.
Sorry, I forgot. The listeners don't know that.
Yeah, poor pedophile. So anyway, so now
you made that up, though.
I'm a fat guy having a stroke without medicine and without a gym. What the hell is going on in this world? Is this serious? Holy bleep! And a busted toe. So my other form of exercise, walking, is compromised.
What are you
what
gonna
the
do?
frig?
You're so persecuted.
I just need to, whatever. Fine. All right. So that's my problem. It's not your problem. Forget it. I've never had this before. It's like, in the middle of COVID, can I use your facility to work out? No. You can't. In the middle of COVID.
And you're like, I'll pay you. And they're like, no.
Yeah,
you can't anymore.
No. It should have been on your app. Yeah, but you guys just continued my app. For some reason, I wasn't allowed to have app privileges 2 months ago. Sorry, that's where it goes. It died there. It's impossible at this point. And then, during COVID, can I get my don't have a stroke medicine? Nope. No way to do it. We've got 1,000 trillion available vaccines. If you want some of those, you can walk in here to any CVS and absolutely free get serum. It's so the make Tony Fauci erect. They could give so many. I could go left and right. I could go to every CVS and Walgreens and grab vaccines or whatever. Right. But no, the one thing I need, no. Holy hell. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to talk about John Gruden for a second, Alice. Do you know John Gruden?
Wait, we didn't even get to the medical fat phobia.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the issue of fat phobia? Right now? We're going to get to that?
Well, yeah, because you experienced it yesterday. While we're on the topic, before we move off of your problems.
A feminist on TikTok called Fat Fab Feminist.
Medical fat phobia is honestly so pervasive. Like, I just went in, I'm getting COVID test, flu test, whatever, I'm feeling really bad. And they had to do blood pressure test. You can't really see, but my arm is really red. Because they didn't have a blood pressure cuff that fit my arm. So in turn, first of all, it was painful. And second of all, they couldn't get an accurate read on my blood pressure. And this may just seem like a simple thing, but it's just so pervasive in the medical field and genuinely impacts like every visit.
Can you believe the fat phobia, how pervasive it is?
You know, that was true. That thing killed my arm. There's no doubt about that. The one that found that, no wonder I came up, the first blood pressure test was even higher than when the human being did it, like in a humane way. It did kill my arm. But I'm not even a...
Can't they take your blood pressure with a little finger thing now, though? Don't they do that?
No, that's part of it, but is the other thing. But the thing is, here's the thing. I mean, in that person right there, obviously, is very hateable. And you'd be right to want to hate her. Mm-hmm. I've thrown myself in the mercy of the court. I've said, I am a wretched glutton. I don't want any special treatment. And I understand that, in fact, that you probably, all the medical officials, probably feel nauseated by having to prod me. Mm-hmm. And I understand that, and I live in my own shame, and I've earned it with my own bad gluttonous behavior. I'm just looking for a modicum of normalcy. I am not looking for anything special. I understand. The fact that I've eaten myself out of, a J. Crew. That doesn't need to be remedied by anybody but me. But I would like some fat people medicine. That we're at least supposed to get that, right?
Supposedly.
Right. So that's fine. She is. Her speech pattern in the first nanosecond is all I need to hear.
Medical fat phobia is honestly so...
Oh, my God. Oh, God. Medical fat phobia.
So pervasive.
Okay. All right. I want to get to John Gruden now. Is that okay?
Yeah, we can talk about John Gruden.
John Gruden, Alice, was until recently the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Mm-hmm. He got busted now because he said some stuff in emails about 10 years ago. He used misogynist, homophobic language. I was shocked, actually, that on the National Review podcast, Rich Lowry actually used these words. Mm. He called Roger Goodell, commissioner, a maggot, but starts with an F.
Okay.
And a clueless anti-football pussycat without the cat.
I mean, fair.
He complained that Goodell had pressured the St. Louis Rams head coach Jeff Fisher to draft queers, quote, after the team selected Michael Sam, who's gay. And the Raiders defensive end Carl Nassif became the first active player to come out as gay, who, of course, Raiders. Mm-hmm. And he said a bunch of other things. He called Joe Biden. In other emails, Gruden said Eric Reed, one of the football players to kneel for Kaepernick during the anthem in a police protest, should be fired. Called in Vice President Joe Biden a nervous, clueless pussy. And exchanged photos.
Again.
And exchanged photos of women wearing only bikini bottoms. After Sunday's game, the team essentially backed him up and said he's been fine with us. He also said something about an NFL a black guy's lips being like tires or something that would be considered a bigoted, ugly statement. So here's my feeling on this.
Okay.
First of all, this is the NFL's investigating. They're not investigating Gruden. They're investigating somebody he was emailing, somebody who works for the Washington Redskins.
So these just got leaked because.
Well, no. But in investigating somebody else, the NFL found all this good stuff on Gruden because he was just one of the. Could be anybody from a personal email account that emailed.
Right.
So it seems to me is like a bit of a fishing expedition. So I mean, and also okay, fine. So is Gruden not allowed to talk to a male friend of his who's around the same age, like guys of that age talked, commonplace? Is he not allowed to? Apparently he's not.
No, he's apparently not.
These were his private messages, but he got, what's that called? Unmasked.
Right, exactly.
Which is, but I can tell you this, that there's reality here that almost no guy, and he's 10 years older than I am, he's 58. There is not a guy in Gruden's age or my age who did not have this language around them generally, at one time or another in their youth, as absolutely commonplace. It's absolutely true. When he called Joe Biden, when he's using the word maggot with an F, he's not actually using a slur on a homosexual person.
No.
He's using a slur on a non...
I mean, he did say he didn't want to draft queers.
Right.
Queers is also not a slur because it's now been reclaimed, right?
Right, no, but I understand, and I'm not defending what he said. But what I'm saying is, when we were kids, when I was a kid and young, that word, obviously little Tom Shattuck never used it, but everybody else playing ball would call each other maggot with an F all the time.
What about the other word? The P word.
You kidding me?
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's still...
I don't still use that. My friend Ken still uses it.
Now, a lot of people raise the point
By the way,
online.
when we used it growing up, it had nothing to do with gay people. It was just simply, that term for us was a way to call you weak and sucky at something.
Well, and even when I was in high school, like, people didn't use that word so much. Like, and I went to a really liberal high school, like really, really liberal. But, people did call stuff gay all the time.
Right.
This was like the early 2000s, like as an insult, and they would never have said in a million years that they were homophobic. The people using that word that way, they thought gay people were totally fine, but they would, say like, "Oh, the movie sold out. That's so gay," just to mean like lame. They would use that all the time. That was like super common, and you absolutely cannot do that now. But it is interesting because it is such a shift, and it's so rapid, and it's like. It's interesting that this happened, too, in the context of the Chappelle special, because one of the points that he raises in this special is that he wouldn't have been fired just for the Kaepernick comments. He wouldn't have been fired for that or for saying stuff about black people, right? Like, he would, that wouldn't have happened. So who's the powerful group? Who did he get fired for insulting? Gay people. Like, and that was like the Chappelle point, is that like there's like one group of people that you can't say anything bad about, or you're absolutely ostracized and fired and kicked out and canceled and kicked out of everything. So I mean, it's just interesting that this happened right there, and a lot of black people of various political stripes have raised this point in the context of the Gruden firing, that being racist wouldn't have been enough. You had to be homophobic to get fired.
And I could see, if you're the Raiders, how when this comes out, you say, you know what? We don't want any of this trouble. John, time to give us your resignation. I can absolutely see that. No doubt. Especially when you're calling the commissioner several things.
Yeah.
I do think that it's absolutely dirty pool what the NFL did. Absolutely. I think it was punitively done. I don't trust those people. I don't trust a room full of lawyer commissioners. commissioner and his deputies. I think Goodell, who obviously I've had a very famous exchange with, I think he's a dishonorable guy. I don't trust him for a damn second.
Yeah.
And I don't. I think all the stuff Gruden said is ugly stuff. If you're going to go after 50-year-old men for sending pictures of women to each other, sorry about that. I would never do it with my friends.
They weren't underage women or anything.
I would never do it with my friends. I wouldn't know how to do that. But are you serious? Really? Men are men. I'm sorry about that. That shouldn't be a problem. And, whatever. So fine. They weren't underage. No. But
so it's like.
Here's my thing. Really. Okay. My thing is, it just kind of. The guy's got to go, fine, he's got to go. And he said mean, bad things, fine. I get it. It does suck that we have to be a society that's so scared of words.
Yeah.
And that you can't say certain words at certain times or else you have to be ruined financially. I mean, he'll be fine, but other people have to have everything, all the stuff that they made built over their lives, including all the good things that they've done in many cases, all the things they've done to benefit and change lives for the better, that all of that stuff is crushed down to nothing, swept away, and all their things have to be taken from them, or the things they love have to be taken from them. Mm-hmm. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that a successful businessman, last year during the riots, called out the riots and then was thrown out of polite society, at least a friend of mine, of ours, was, and that it happens. It's all the time. You're allowed to say something.
Yeah, his entire family had to denounce him and kowtow to the mob and hire a
You're allowed to say
coach.
Some things sometimes, depending on when these cultural forces decide that's okay and when it's not okay. Mm-hmm. Some things you can say sometimes not, sometimes yes. Depends. And I think that is sucky to live in a world where that has to be that way. There's nothing, I can't imagine. And because it all comes from the same place as the Eden person that Minahan had on. That somebody somewhere decided that these words are violence.
Yeah. Please don't say it.
And they're not.
Right.
The words are not violence. And so that we all have to have this big performative move. That's why you have so many people, showing how virtuous they are with lawn signs. Because if mean words are violence, the nice words are a soothing elixir.
Right. They're real activism.
That's right. But the nice words on your lawn sign, those bring peace and harmony and good feelings, and the whatever's the opposite of violence. Those bring peace and serenity.
Right.
So we're gonna do that. We won't use the bad word. I just think that sucks. It sucks. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And it's just the time. There are times when you can just get deleted. Like I told you, I saw Lenny Clark in Lowell last year, or a year and a half ago, whatever, at one of these breakfasts, and he was there, and he did his routine, and he went so un-PC. I was shocked, because I only know him as the friendly, affable guy on radio, the really nice guy, which he is.
Mm-hmm.
He went ethnic first and foremost, comparing Lowell with Lawrence in ways that you're not allowed to. You are not allowed to. But he went there immediately, and his whole set was, in today's parlance, was wholly offensive. Wholly offensive. I was dying laughing. It was half I was laughing, but I was also at the same time, he's so good. He had me doubled over. I was never so happy and fearful that somebody was going to record him and then record the editor of the paper just double over laughing at his hate speech.
So, but do you think it's interesting that this, total fear of words and sense that words are violence and that words can never make people uncomfortable comes from the same group of people that run around yelling at people in the streets and bothering people at night in their houses and following Kirsten Sinema into the bathroom and everything else oh, the activism should make you uncomfortable but not jokes should never make us uncomfortable.
Yeah, but they're saying that they're having to mobilize physically on people like Sinema to save lives, to save the same people being hurt by Gruden's words. That's why they're doing. That's why it's okay for them to do it, to throw a Molotov cocktail, to throw a brick at a cop's head, because they're saving lives.
But it's just interesting to me that protest is supposed to make you uncomfortable, and but like humor can never make anyone uncomfortable. I mean, because isn't that sort of the point of comedy? Is that it's supposed to push boundaries and make you uncomfortable? And like, aren't you able in humor to like, to question things in ways that you aren't able to, to make people think about things in a different way through humor? I
don't think that's the sole definition of comedy, but I think it's one of the best things about it is that the kind of comedians who are willing to go there and say the unthinkable. And we could just point to the roasts on Comedy Central. Mm-hmm. They're unthinkable, tough to watch things. And I love those people who are in those roasts. I would be a broken person if I were being roasted. And they used, and I can't imagine how you can give a speech afterwards. There's got to be some kind of drug you take just to get your nerve up. The fact that Justin Bieber stood up there while they completely tore him to pieces in ways that would gotta kill him. It was just incredible. Courtney Love, did you see that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, they went right to where you would think they wouldn't go. They went right to Kurt Cobain blowing his head off. They were married, in case you didn't know. Did you not know?
I didn't know that.
You didn't? You did?
I did know
okay,
that.
Good. Okay, I'm not sure. I just want to make sure.
Okay.
It'd be acceptable if you didn't, because you were not that old during that time.
I've heard of all these people.
Okay, good. So anyway, that's where I am on. Will you?
What?
You talk to your kids about sending me 100 billion trillion
app requests?
I am going to swear now at your children. This is the second word is off. Send. There's your app request, Sally. James.
I think they're just hoping that eventually you'll hit yes by accident.
On Growing Pains rarely did that.
Well, maybe that's why his kid came out so messed up.
Did he?
I mean, his real kid.
Oh, thick?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Okay. All right. So should we get to some politics or no?
Yeah, let's.
We don't have to if you don't want to.
No,
I mean,
there's a lot going on in the world too. Not just football coaches being canceled.
And fat guys unable to get any medicine.
I know.
We need a dealer. You can get me. What's the email?
Yeah, don't call Tom's work with information on how to get illegal drugs.
I actually joked about that for a second today, and I thought it wasn't a good sign that nobody called. Does that mean like management doesn't listen? Because that was problematic. But who cares? I mean, that nobody from management called. All right, so let's get to the infrastructure bill, where it is so far. You have essentially both Jen Psaki and Nancy Pelosi suggesting that it seems to me that a retrenchment has happened here, although they're trying to keep a brave face about it. Here's Psaki.
What our focus now is on is building a real, tangible package that can become law and is going to make a transformational difference in people's lives. So
the qualifier is right in the front of that one. Mm-hmm. A real, tangible package that can become law. In other words, that we have support on.
And we all know why we're talking here about the size and the cuts, etc. But a cut, it's not a cut just because someone once proposed something bigger on paper.
No,
it's not it's not a bill or a policy that's going
say that if it's your line item that you wanted. By the way,
if Republicans say they want something out of there, it's always called a cut.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Or if Democrats are going to lose some wish list items, they feel cut.
To change lives if nothing is passed, and that's what we're working through. There's a lot of ways to do that, and that's the discussion she's having with her caucus, and the president is of course playing a prominent role in.
So the president doesn't prefer then one avenue or the other?
The president wants to make fundamental change in our economy, and he feels coming out of the pandemic is exactly the time to do that. And if we don't do it now, if we don't address the cost of childcare, to go back to Josh's question earlier, if we don't address the climate crisis, if we don't ensure that universal pre-K is a reality now, we're not going to have the same opportunity to do it for some time.
So that's her still, at least hard selling around,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the soft infrastructure stuff that she wants. But I think they made it pretty clear that they realize that the 3
It's
point
going to
whatever.
come down
Right.
significantly. But I mean, Manchin has signaled he's open to like $2 trillion, which is still insane. So, you know, who knows?
So here's Pelosi's version of this.
The Build Back Better is 3 baskets. It's climate, which we spent some time talking about already, health, jobs, security, and moral responsibility. It's healthcare, the issues that relate to
How many
Affordable
baskets?
Care
I know,
Act,
her
Medicare,
concept of
and
3 is
Medicaid,
different.
and family care. I mentioned some of those issues already. And so whatever we do, it will be transformative. It will produce results. And we are very grateful to our president for saying, I want to pass the...
So that word transformative and all these words like that, and Psaki used similar words.
Fundamentally
Yes.
transform the economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are done in service to the squad
Right.
and Bernie. To let them know that's going to be magic unicorny anyway, even though not as big as
Yeah. Unfortunately, it will fundamentally change the economy. I mean, they've already fundamentally changed the economy in a lot of ways that are not good. So this is, I mean, to do more of what they're doing, it seems insane to me. I can't wrap my mind around that they look at what they've done so far and think, this is going great, but we needed some more of this. Like, look at the economy. Look at
the squad doesn't care about that. They just want a big number on the infrastructure bill. They don't care about the economy. They want it to crash and crumble. They don't.
It's just crazy to me. Like, we've done socialism everywhere. We've seen what it looks like. It looks like empty grocery store shelves. It looks like people not working. It looks like, you know, flights not taking off, people not being able to go to the doctor when they need to. Like, we know that that's what happens when you make that your system. They're like, we'll try a little of it. And, like, all that stuff starts happening. And they're like, this is going super awesome. Like, what are they, like, I don't see how you can believe this stuff after you're like 6, you know, and you're like, why do we even have money? Wouldn't it be nice if the ice cream store would just give everybody ice cream? Like, well, yeah, but you know, like, I honestly, like, I don't understand how people go through life.
It's a freshman in
that,
college
like,
coming home for the Thanksgiving after the first semester.
I mean, it's so insane to me. I don't understand how, like, anybody can think this stuff is a good idea. And, like, and then you can see it in action. You can see the economy right now. You can see what's happening. And they're just lying. Like, no, it was the weather. No, it's the hospitals are overwhelmed because COVID. There's no staffing shortage. That's made up. Everything's fine. Like, oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah, everything's fine. Well, did you really need all those different things on the grocery store shelves anyway? You know,
right?
Like,
and then you show the spike in murders over the last year and a half. Like, gun shows. Like, huh? Are you sure? Because the gun shows are way over there, and all the murders are way over there. Are you sure?
Bipartisan legislation on infrastructure, but I will not confine my vision for the future to what can be in that bill. Hence, we need the Build Back Better. The medical.
She's a mess.
She is, yeah.
I mean, also, it just worries me, too, just as a side note, like, in a nonpartisan way, it concerns me that everybody in our government is approximately 100 years old.
Correct.
Like, that's a problem. Like, we joked about whatever, your Connecticut senator there, and asking if they were going to ban Finsta. Yes. And, like, but... It's, like, seriously crazy. I was looking up, like, who's in line for the presidency if anything happened to Biden, right? So it's Biden, who's 100, and then Kamala, who's normal, and then there's Pelosi, who's, like, 100, and then it's Chuck Grassley is, like, the next person.
He's, might be literally 100. He's running again for re-election.
It's insane. It's insane. Why are we, like, is there no... I mean... it's not good because, and you and I know, like, we've all known elderly people who are wonderful and have contributed massive amounts of things to this country and who I adore. But I just, like, I get a little concerned that, like, the people that are actually in charge of everything have completely lost their fastball because people slow down. You can't do as much stuff. You can't hold on to as many things in your head.
Yeah, but they don't have to know anything but how to do Washington, D.C.
Well, but maybe that's not good.
That's not good. It's not good because most of America is not Washington, D.C.
But I think that there are a lot of people that buy into the idea that we need like a professional political class. Like you'll hear people say that. Like that was one of the arguments about Trump. Like, oh, well, he's not a politician. He doesn't know how they do things, blah, blah, blah. And like, I think that a lot of people think that, you know, that we need a group of people whose expertise and life's work and career is politics, which is like the opposite of how the framers saw it and everybody else.
Well, right. And that's why you have a guy like Trump who wouldn't know that it makes Washington sense that there's a consensus amongst bureaucrats and politicians that it's perfectly reasonable to leave all the equipment in Afghanistan. A guy like Trump from the private sector would say, what the F are you talking about? We're not leaving anything. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Take it with us and blow up anything you don't. But no. In Washington, sir, you don't get how things work around here. There are considerations and there are there's the appearance of what would happen if we tried to get the stuff out of there, and there's all sorts of in Washington would just mix it up in the Washington blender until it was something that the room was just battered with, and would just say, okay, yes, leave it there. That makes sense. And that's
I know. They're lunatics. It's so crazy to me, and they've all like become hugely wealthy from being there.
Yes. Well, imagine the communication shop. Imagine somebody at the table had to say, okay, the presidential briefing today, what are you seeing out there? What are you seeing on social media? What are you seeing? Okay, there's this picture that shows a Border Patrol on a horse. All right, guys, what can we do? Spitball. To me, that's a very alarming image that brings up pictures of Jim Crow South and whipping somebody. Okay, good. And they're throwing it right on the board. In Washington, it makes sense. And it makes total sense. Okay, he's whipping somebody. Other people, ideas. Well, to me, it looks like he's trying to bear down on a Haitian using an animal and drive him into the water. Very good. That's right. With no thought that there's no moral compass in the room.
Right.
It's just simply Washington messaging a shop, and it's fine. And then they say, okay, so we've gone with whipping. We'll go with whipping here. We need something better for the president. Work something up. Well, it looks like a strap, too. Good. That way he can equivocate. Give him strap. Hell, have him say strap. That way, if they accuse him of saying whipping, then we can say, no, he said strap. Which is not a thing, but in that room and in D.C., makes total sense. Which is why people effing hate politicians.
Right.
And all of these weasels. Psaki up there feels that every time she's done, she feels she's done a good job. Yep, that's what I do. And actually, it's Republican as well. They think that spinning, getting out of the room safely, is doing a good job. It rarely is. It's rarely informative.
Well, right. And the media feeds into it not just because they're liberals and stuff, too, but because they are into that world. And to them, it's cool. And they're like getting to be with the celebrities and they want to feel like they're at the cool kids table, too. It's like what you were talking about with like sports reporters who want to hook up with athletes. But it's the same with political media. And like if you look at like the way they treat like the White House Correspondents' Dinner and stuff like that, like they all like think they're part of the same magical glitzy elite of people. It's really like
they throw themselves their own Academy Awards night. Themselves. Look who's at whose table. Who he brought.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they like remember when they used to hashtag it nerd prom?
Yes.
Like, we were the smart kids. This is like celebrities, but for the really smart kids. Like, okay, guys.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, anyway, the smart kids got in trouble with Pelosi. I love that she said this because she's noticed that they've become errant in part of their in their capacity as messengers for Democrats.
Do you think you need to do a better job at messaging and going forward? How do you sell this if ultimately you have to?
Well, I think you all could do a better job of selling it, to be very frank with you.
Oh, okay.
You have not been selling our legislation the way you're supposed
right,
to,
like
guys.
you always do. Well, you did Obamacare just fine. What's the problem here? Imagine that. Imagine you could all be doing a better job. I wish there was a follow-up. Said, pardon me? What did you say? You're saying that we could do? I tell you, when I worked at the Herald, and it had somebody said that to one of our reporters, that would have been war.
Right.
on that politician who
It
said
should
that.
be.
Yes.
I mean, like, what's wrong? Like,
Yes. No, absolutely.
you know, if Trump had said it, they would have blown up.
Oh,
They
totally.
would have freaked out, telling us what we're supposed to report.
The First Amendment was shattered here today. At approximately 1:06 was the time of death. Here's Saki on Southwest Airlines. Do you want the long one or the short one?
Sure. But also, wait, before you
Sure?
finish Pelosi.
Okay, go ahead.
I was confused for a minute. Before you finished Pelosi, did you see what she said about the $600 thing? Do you know about this? So part of the bill, part of the pay-fors in the bill is that they're going to go after tax cheats harder, which of course means that they're going to, pump up the IRS into a more powerful entity. But one of the things they want to be able to do is they want the banks to report all transactions to them over $600 so that they can catch more income that people are making on the side, so that they can make sure they're not missing any of your money to tax it. So obviously, a lot of people don't think that that's really great, that the government can see into your bank account and see every transaction of $600 or more. It seems a teensy bit invasive. And
I would say so.
One of the reporters asked Pelosi about that, and I sent you the audio
I didn't get
that. Well, oh well.
She said that's what we're going to do. What did she say?
She said, well, they said, people are concerned about this. And she was like, people are concerned, but that's just anecdotes. And that's absolutely staying in the bill. We need to go after people who are cheating on their taxes.
That's great.
We need to do that.
That's great. I'm sorry, Alice. I was just looking at the kids in response to my...
when you told them to F off with their app requests?
Yes. They've now they've replied by sending me somehow this image of a shark eating my F off message to them.
Oh, wow.
So a shark ate it. You can see it here. You see the shark?
Wow, that's
It ate it.
It ate your message.
Yes.
Wow.
That's one of them. The other one says, pfft.
Wow.
So there you go.
Very, very respectful to you. Although, did you know they told me today that you look like Rick Astley?
No.
Yeah.
You sure they didn't just do something with the word ass in...
No. They were watching the Never Gonna Give You Up
If he's
video.
700 pounds right now, they are dead. Or the old Rick Astley.
Yeah, and they said he kind of looks like Daddy.
There you go. Damn well. Good. You know what? I'm going to get them those apps. I'm going to retract that. Apologize. Hat in hand.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the Saki on the Southwest Airlines. We played this in the beginning here.
I know there was a little hubbub over the course of the last few days about Southwest Airlines. We now know that some of those claims were absolutely false, and actually the issues
We
were...
now know. We now know. By the way, this is her acting in a capacity as a reporter.
Yeah.
Saying, by the way, we now know that those claims were false. Wait a second. No, they can talk to Southwest and the airlines union, the pilots and the flight attendants themselves. Now we now know. So get it straight, she's saying. Do it right, like we told you.
Completely unrelated to vaccine mandates. But again, what we've seen business to business across the country is this is the way to save lives, create more certainty. It's good for the economy, and it's something we're looking forward to
A
implementing.
little hubbub. Just another little hubbub. You missed that flight. That gets canceled. Another little hubbub. That's fine. Gas prices. Another little hubbub over it. We noticed that freaking hubris of these people is incredible.
Yep. Just, little ripples in the economy. Everything's fine. We didn't create quite as many jobs as we wanted. We missed our estimate by another 300,000 people but hey.
Hubbub.
And there are several challenges facing the White House right now, not just getting Democrats united on the president's domestic agenda, but also skyrocketing gas prices, a bad jobs report last week. You've seen several issues, and including the president's poll numbers seem to be reflecting that. So how is he viewing all of these challenges that are facing the White House right now?
Well, he, has an incredible team that's working on all of these issues at one time. And his view is his responsibilities to continue to forge ahead every day and to work to address the challenges the American people are facing. You didn't mention COVID, but that continues to be on front and center on the minds of the American people. People want to return back to a version of normal. They want to go back to knowing that their kids are safe at school, that they can go to their workplaces, that
how is this a defense? You forgot how we're also effing up COVID.
That they don't have to fear for their safety in communities. He understands that. That's what he's working on every single day. I would say that he also recognizes that right now, getting something done for the American people, working with members of Congress to do exactly that,
can we stop this now?
to forge a path forward to
You
unite.
can stop Jen Psaki. You can stop Jen Psaki. So, there's still a lot of fuss over this school board stuff. So there's been, we talked about the National School Boards Association asked Biden to call parents domestic terrorists and prosecute them under the Patriot Act, and the FBI said, yeah, we'll get right on that. We absolutely will get involved in that process. So that's bad. But also another school board story broke this week. Was this today? I guess so. The Daily Wire is reporting this, actually, which is crazy. Did you read this story?
I did, yep.
So the dad, remember the Loudoun County meetings where they arrested people because they closed it down? So apparently, and the police department confirmed that this actually did happen to the Daily Wire. The dad that they arrested at the school board meeting was trying to tell the school board that his daughter was sexually assaulted in the bathroom by a supposedly trans kid who was in the girls or gender neutral bathroom or whatever. And that subsequently, after the school board didn't do anything about it, but between the time the police were investigating it and then they're due back in court this week, but in the intervening time sexually assaulted somebody else separately. So that seems like that would have been relevant information to the school board meeting about the gender policies in the bathroom.
Yes, it's in the Daily Wire article is more detailed in what actually was done to her, but it was vile what was done to her. And this is the audio. This is the dad being kicked out after the school board had ordered the police to remove him.
Now, hey, John, please don't resist. You guys, this is an unlawful arrest. I have a First Amendment right. Listen. You do, right? You're right. Okay, thank you. Here's someone speaking rationally. Listen to me. At this point, the meeting is over, right? It's not over. It's not over. We were meeting.
But the school board got sick of it and made it over. And
yep, they declared the meeting an unlawful assembly, so you had to leave it.
Absolutely.
So just as a reminder that this stuff absolutely does matter and is huge, and that people are not pleased, and not pleased in ways that really do impact elections. Like Psaki's saying that about COVID, people want to get back to normal. Yeah, people want normal, and they want their schools to reflect their values, the schools that they send their kids to, and they want to make their voices heard at local school board meetings and impact local elections. And every step that they take away from allowing parents to have those choices for their kids is a step that really I think hurts Democrats. I saw an incredible statistic today, and so I went to go look and see whether this was true, because I couldn't believe this statistic. It was incredible, but it is true. It's on the census website. Okay, and hey,
he's playing your Strat. By the way, you got to read messages and mail about. We just have to make sure we read it all on the air.
Read more mail.
Because people want you to play your Strat.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Census website.
The census website. What % of kids, roughly, in the United States do you think are homeschooled?
2.
That used to be kind of similar. It used to be there were about 6% of white kids were homeschooled, 6% of Hispanic, 3% of black kids, 5% of Asian, and 6% of others. So, in the 5%-ish range. Now, this is actually as of last fall. I can't imagine it's gone down, but starting in the fall of 2020, 12% of Hispanic kids were homeschooled, 10% of white kids, 16% of black kids are being homeschooled in the past school year, 8% of Asian kids, and 12% of other. So, really high. really
Yeah.
high. I mean, like more than 1 in 10 kids is being homeschooled in the United States right now. So
That's great.
It's a huge jump. And what's more, in the census question, they asked people to differentiate between virtual schooling and homeschooling. So this wasn't just people being confused and checking off like homeschooling because like it was remote school or something. This is like, that's a percentage of parents who said, no, we're absolutely doing homeschooling independent from the public schools. This stuff that they're doing now with the schools, with the critical race stuff and the gender stuff and the whatever else and the masks, etc., that's not going to make the number go down anytime soon.
No,
so,
and I would love the whole system to crash. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
now.
I hope it does. I really hope it does. And I also think that it's going to be interesting because Democrats have always sort of had this problem with school choice because they're so beholden to teachers' unions, and it's been difficult to reconcile that with their positions of supposedly supporting minorities and minority parents and education for kids who are minorities and trapped in terrible failing school districts, because the parents of those kids want better opportunities for them, want charter schools, want religious schools, want vouchers, want the capability to send their kids to better schools like wealthy people have who are rich and can send their kids to private schools or homeschool them or hire people or whatever, right? And that poorer people lack those opportunities. And so, you know, if you remember, like Liz Warren got in some trouble over that during her campaign because she's anti-school choice, but she sent her kids to private schools and stuff and lied about it, said she always sent her kids to public schools, but didn't. And I think that, you know, I think that it represents a real opportunity for Republicans to reach voters that they wouldn't normally reach, who wouldn't normally give them a chance because it's becoming so obvious that Democrats like don't have the best interests of these kids at heart at all.
Yeah, and that they're beholden to teachers' unions, and the unions, especially the leadership high up, are scum.
Well, on that note, we'll leave you. Is today Tuesday?
All of the day.
Wow. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. You can talk to us in between then on Twitter at Burn Barrel Pod, Facebook.com/Burn Barrel Podcast, BurnBarrelPodcast.com. You can email us, BurnBarrelPodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Locals, Patreon, YouTube, Rumble, all the places.